Nkgadima
as well. I don't know what you made of the tenor voice in that particular little mix, but whether you're looking to raise money for groceries, funerals or weddings, or just to save, Stokvels are a way of saving money. That's not bad, eh? South Africa's Stokvel industry, apparently worth 25 billion rand. It's said to have more than 8.5 million members. This is Tonight. I'm Bruce Whitfield. This is Mojalifa Stokvel, and we're talking to Busi Skenjana, who's Managing Director of Brand Support, Keys Marketing, and Mamapudi Nkgadima, who's Managing Director of African Response, on Stokvels as an investment vehicle. Is this, Busi, a good enough example of how we start a Stokvel meeting? We had the song with a lousy tenor voice of my producer, and then we're going to have a little prayer, and then we'll have some nice tea, and 2 hours later we get started.
Exactly, and then if you come late you get fined.
Am I going to get fined?
Yeah.
What for? What have I done wrong?
For being late.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's part of fundraising for the Stokvel.
Explain that to me.
Stokvels, amongst other things, you just have to keep on raising funds. Besides your monthly contribution, you find creative ways of raising funds. So late coming fee is one of them.
Okay, so there we go. It's not my money, so you can have it's 120 bucks. It's fine. I've still got a budget to go here. When we look at Mamapudi, how big is this industry really? I mean, 25 billion rand is supposedly tied up in Stokvels. It sounds like an extraordinary amount of money.
It's very big, Bruce, and that's the reality of what's happening with the people of South Africa. They are stockfelling wherever they are, whenever they are.
Do we know when the first Stokvels originated, why they originated?
Stokvel dates back to the 19th century, and what I hear is cattle farmers used to do it for cattle auctioneering, and workers then started to take it serious and started doing it on their own as a way of entertainment and as a way of raising money to strengthen their collective.
Okay, now typically, how would it work? I mean, here's 200 bucks. That's all I can afford to save this month. What happens to my 200 bucks? I give it to you, Busi, because you're reliable. You can be trusted, but I might never see that 200 bucks again. What makes the Stokvel work?
But before you give me this 200 rands, we should have come to a decision. Why do we want to save this 200 rands?
We'll give it back there.
Thank
you. All right. Okay, so I've got 200 bucks. I want to do something with it. Let's help me out here.
Now we need to define what is it that we want to do. We want to start a Stokvel because we need to support each other in the event of death. That would be your burial club.
Okay.
Or
is that the biggest Stokvel, the burial clubs?
It is the biggest. It accounts 15% of South African population, the adult population, are members of a burial society. And I think it's also one of the oldest. Stokvel started in the form of burial Stokvels, and they have remained big, but I think they are overtaking saving Stokvels.
So burial Stokvels, I mean, rather than take out insurance, a life insurance product or a funeral insurance product with Metropolitan or one of the big insurance companies, rather, I'm going to take my 200 bucks for my first contribution for my it's far in the future, my burial one day, and we decide we're going to start a burial Stokvel.
Definitely, we would start with this 200 simply because some of the insurance companies, they will ask me a lot of questions, you know, all the paperwork and all that. Whereas with my Stokvel, it's simple. I just make a commitment that I'm going to contribute X amount per month, then I'm guaranteed that, in the event of death in the member of the family, I'll get some form of a support. It may not be enough, but at least I've got some sort of a cover.
But are there rules and regulations? I mean, what happens if you know that I like to go out for a drink on a Friday night and like to drive my car fast down the M1 motorway? Do you exclude me? Do you operate on similar rules to what the insurance companies might do?
There are rules. In fact, there's a guiding document or governing document called the Constitution. Before we start our Stokvel, then we will decide, let's just put rules and procedures in place. Those rules will determine, amongst other things, how much are we going to contribute per month, and then what happens if I stop making my contributions, and who gets covered, all the procedures.
And every single Stokvel's got a different constitution, or is there sort of a base standard constitution? A burial society Stokvel's got a particular constitution. Other Stokvels will have different ones?
They vary depending on the objective of why you're getting together. Like Busi explained, if our objective is to help each other during times of death, the objectives will be different, because you need to engage a local undertaker who that money is going to be given to at the end of each month. The rules there are slightly different from when we are putting money together for the purposes of buying groceries in bulk.
But where is the contract in this? Where is the fact that who's keeping tabs of my 200 Rand a month? Where is this? Suddenly I'm beginning to feel a little bit uneasy. I don't have a spreadsheet and I don't have a signed off contract with a promise to deliver at some point in the future.
That's the gist of the Stokvel, Bruce. There is no written contract. It's all about trust. Remember, we form a Stokvel, we start a Stokvel because we know one another.
Yep.
We're part of the community. So trust is the key word in the Stokvel. And of course, that constitution, somehow it binds me because I know that I have to abide.
But the constitution is written?
It is written,
okay.
Yes.
So we all understand the rules, we all understand this. I quite like the Stokvel thing, so now I'm going to contribute an extra 100 Rand a month into a savings vehicle because I'm concerned 5 years from now, my kids are going to go to school and I need uniforms and shoes. That's probably another good use for a Stokvel?
It'll be a different type of Stokvel. Sometimes you might actually add that to the existing Stokvel, but inherently what tends to happen, it will be a different type of Stokvel, perhaps even with different types of people. Might be work colleagues, might be family, might be the same people, but really that's the different type of Stokvel. So there are different types.
How many, broadly speaking?
Core ones are 5 different types. Your burial Stokvels, which we've talked about, which is the biggest, followed by your savings Stokvels, or what we call money Stokvels.
Okay.
Then the third being grocery Stokvels, where the motive is put money together so that you can get groceries in bulk. The third one being your investment Stokvel. So your objective is really, we want this money to invest for the future. I think there you can start to see that savings might not be necessarily for very long term.
No.
But investment tends to be long-term investments.
And where does that investment money go? Does that go into the formal sector, or is it sort of put into small businesses in formal settlements, in townships perhaps?
Unfortunately, only 4 out of 10 Stokvels will take their money into a financial house, like a bank, for instance. There is a large percentage of the money that still we find under the mattresses, or Stokvel members will take that money that you've given now. We might start loaning it amongst each other.
Because now it becomes a little micro-lending scheme. Because I quite like, what sort of return can I get on my money?
Oh, gee, the Stokvel micro lending scheme works around 30% interest.
You can lend this to Mamapudi.
That's
okay. Now, you guys are doing well out of me today. I've still got $100 left for necessities. But the point is, this is an informal, unwritten, uncontracted part of the economy. There's 25 billion Rand estimated to be circulating or tied up within the system. Can we differentiate?
I would say it's circulating within the system. Like say part of it's circulating within our financial institutions. Part of it's circulating on a monthly basis amongst us as members. Part of it is sitting under the mattress. But even that part of it that is sitting under the mattress, at the end of the day, it goes back into the system. Like it's going to go and we'll go and buy groceries or whatever big item that we're saving for.
Now, why has the financial sector not been able to penetrate the Stokvels industry? Because if there's 25 billion Rand there is a business there that somebody else can go and make money out of. Is that maybe the problem?
In fact, that's an amazing question because like I said, I have no doubt in my mind that a huge part of that money is circulating within the financial services sector. And I think it's just that they're not willing enough to actually explore and understand, the mechanics of the Stokvel. And form relationships is not just about that money circulating within the system. Do you have a program, for example, that says we are going to form a relationship with Stokvels, like education, for example? What education programs are out there, that are initiated by the financial institutions to teach them to stop saving short-term, let's look at long-term.
But it goes against almost the ethos of the Stokvel. The Stokvel is about community, it's about trust, it's about who you know. It's about somebody has died close to me, I need $1,000 to supplement the funeral payment. Please can I have it? You have the meeting, get the cash out and you do it. There's no paperwork, there's no messing about. Maybe the financial sector is just too structured to enable it to capitalize on this sector.
I think that's a key fundamental. I think that's a key fundamental that Stokvels operate within. Busi highlighted the element of trust. Now, when you trust each other, you don't need a lengthy documentation to be justifying who you are. When you're needing a burial society, you don't need so-and-so's birth certificate, marriage certificate, whatever types of certificate, proof of residence. And I think our financial sector industry is riddled with red tape.
And fees.
And fees as well. Yeah. Instead of understanding the modus operandi of Stokvels, it's basically forcing Stokvels to operate in a particular way. And I think the classical way that I talk about Stokvels, I say they are traditional. Let's understand the traditional nature. But I definitely also think let's uplift them, because there's an element of not knowing what else to do, how better to make your money work faster or better for you. I think Stokvels have remained the same old, same old. There is a need to revive.
And to evolve them.
And to evolve them as well.
I mean, would you invite the financial sector to come in and to create an opportunity? I mean, we talk about, at the highest level, the National Treasury talks about financial inclusion, and they have conferences and they have better quality tea and biscuits than we're having here today, and they spend a lot of money talking about it and having nice lunch. But nobody seems to actually engage directly with people involved in the Stokvels.
Certainly, I think there is a need to invite all sectors, financial sector, even, the suppliers of these, grocery items that Stokvels, purchase. So I think we need a conversation in South Africa whereby we can get Stokvels engaging with the industry at large, looking at marketing opportunities, looking at development opportunities, because it's one thing that we have this huge sector, but is it developing? What programs are there? So yes, I would agree with you. We need to invite all stakeholders, to the party on. Let's have tea.
Exactly, let's have tea. So Mamapudi, help yourself to a biscuit, pass them along. That was Busi Skenjana, Managing Director of Brand Support Keys Marketing, and Mamapudi and Nkgadima. They're not helping themselves, they're passing me the biscuits. What does that say? Mamapudi is the Managing Director of African Response. There'll be more tonight, tomorrow, perhaps starting in the day and finishing in the evening with a cup of tea. I've still got $100 with which to have a good time. It's not mine. I don't care what happens to it. Good night. Cheers.
Ukolola mi lonyuga nalo, ukolola mi lonyuga nalo, ngilubambe ngesandla ngiyongena nalo ekhaya ezulwini.